After a test in December 1970, he decided he would henceforth record in Eaton Auditorium on the 7th floor of the Eaton's department store, an art modern building downtown at College and Young Streets. Its acoustic, drier than that of Columbia's 30th Street studio, suited his repertoire and style. The familiarity of the hall probably offered a psychological boost too. Sight of his first professional recitals as an organist and pianist, it was home turf.
I knew Glenn for several months before I actually ever heard him play the piano. I was quite astonished when I did.
I think so. You're very lucky to listen to him.
Well, I was ashamed of myself that I hadn't gone before, that I didn't realize what an extraordinary talent. But nobody set me up for that. I just had to tumble into it myself. It was very moving, though. I think, if I remember correctly, it was at the Royal Conservatory. And I think it was an evening when Maureen Forrester was there too, I do believe. I'm not sure about that. Anyway, that's my earliest remembrance of Glenn was that he was a bundle of energy and fun. He was very humorous. He liked to joke, and he could take a joke.
He did a joke to you also?
Yes, but he liked playing parts, roles. You know, he was
like an actor.
Yes. But he was splendid company. But there was always a distance, so you never really got to know him terribly well.
So, what is the first memory that's come into your mind when you think about him?
Oh, hunched over the piano. Sadly, some of the latter ones, when he wasn't, towards the end with the Goldberg and other television pieces that he did, he wasn't terribly well. And it was such a sad image to me, that the vitality and joy that I remembered from the early days, and for example in the first Goldberg, that was diminished by these powerful, but rather sad images. So I tend to remember those. There's one which is in the Goldberg film with him hunched over the piano. It's very moving. So I tend to remember that, sadly.
In your opinion, what would Gould have true about new technique as social media, Facebook, Twitter?
With Glenn?
Yeah.
He would have gone anywhere. Glenn had an open mind. He was crazy. Anything that intrigued him, anything that was fresh and new, I think he would have gone after it. And it would have been a challenge to him. He was so adventurous in that regard, yes. So I think he would have enjoyed all of that, yes. Yeah.
So you work in so many shows with Glenn, and you are a professional drama director, so I have to say, in my childhood memory archive, I have a cassette of Muppets Christmas shows.
Oh.
yeah, and I remember this with pleasure. So I was to work on television at that time.
What was it like to work at?
Yeah.
Well, it was a scary medium because so much of it was live, of course.
Yeah.
But it was a challenge, and in particular for Glenn, he was given an opportunity that I suspect very few musicians are given, which is space, time, do what you want to do. And I think that was quite right. I mean, that he was such an individual talent, and people like myself found it most agreeable to just service the gentleman's needs rather than be a critique of the content of his ideas. That was all in another world anyway.
Revolutionary. So we know that Glenn was, as you said, very reserved, maybe a little bit shy, but in front of the camera, he revealed kind of humoristic characters. It was very funny, and he looked very comfortable in front of the camera. So it changed me.
Maybe he was somebody else when he was doing that. You know, when he was all those crazy characters that he created, the English conductor and the
I remember Clockweiser.
Yes,
and
Theodore Slutz or whatever. I can't remember for sure. But they were
Italian one also.
Oh yeah. He enjoyed that. He enjoyed being somebody else. You know, because there was a lot of himself in it too. But he enjoyed his. The only time when I was criticising him was, and he laughed, and I said, with all your apparent Scottish ancestry, your Scottish accent is appalling.
Oh yeah. So, what attracted Glenn on TV? What is this medium in particular? What did you think about the fact that so many people would see him? So he protected himself from the audience, and I remember during a show I said, I detest audience, not individual components, but a mass. I think they are a force of evil. And this course is kind of provocative in an aesthetical fashion. Right. But what do you think about maybe TV could guarantee a sort of privacy to him?
I think so. I think that it was a good medium for Glenn. But then people like Mr. Bernstein, I'll get it right one day.
It's so hard.
He was wonderful with the medium, and I think that was a slight influence of Glenn too. I think it was a wonderful place for Glenn to play and be, or just have fun. I mean, he really enjoyed doing those shows. And he was able to select the performers he wished to be with. I mean, the one that I did with Glenn and Yehudi Menuhin, this was all Glenn's idea. And I was just informed, did you know you were doing a program with Glenn and Yehudi Menuhin? No, thank you very much. It was a good meeting for Glenn. It was an adventurous time, and it was at a time when, in many ways, you could fail without horror. Unlike it seems today, when if you fail, you're gone.
Absolutely. Even the Leonard Bernstein and Glenn Gould concert was filmed, and I remember when Bernstein was like, kind of, I apologize for, it's a different Bach. It's not the usual academic things, and it was like outstanding stuff.
But Glenn was naughty. I mean, he just liked to push the envelope. Sometimes he pushed it just a little too far. I had a personal experience once when working in London with Peter Ustinov, and there happened at that time to be an article that came out in Time magazine, in which Glenn was very critical of Mozart. But Ustinov was a Mozart devotee and directed operas in Berlin. And I think there was a remark by Glenn, something like, well, you can't be that good if it takes you 29 times to write a good symphony, something like that. And I passed this magazine to Mr. Ustinov, who read it, then passed it back and said, well, all that glitters is not Gould.
And what's your favorite pieces played by Gould? Because everyone knows Goldberg, you know. You have something that you have very fond of.
Well, probably the Brahms Intermezzi, because there's something romantic about it. I have a bone to pick with Mr. Gould if I get to see him again. I think he was more of a deep romantic than what he actually ever claimed he wanted to be or was. I mean, there were occasions when he would slightly jokingly say that he wished he'd been born into another era. And that era, the one he chose, was the Edwardian era. Well, you can't get more romantic than that.
Of course, absolutely. Yeah. It seems a paradox, a contradiction.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was the man of contradiction.
Yes.
That's why we love it. And thank you, Eric, for this interview. And it was a pleasure to have you. And
pleasure to be here. Thank you
very much.